This was absolutely the day that I was going to do a show about how they can't hit. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Pirates 8, Rangers 3. Pirates with 15, as in 1-5 hits. Yes, in the same game. The Pirates with 5 doubles, 7 for 14, with runners in scoring position. But wait, as the ad goes, there's more. Most of this offense came from Spencer Horwitz at 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Tommy Pham, who had 3 hits and 3 RBIs, including his first 2 extra base hits since April 26 in Los Angeles. Brian Reynolds back from paternity leave with not just a new baby boy, but 3 hits and a walk. And just because somebody has to do it, I'm the one who walks into the clubhouse afterward and asks everybody why they can't hit. Or at least why they can't hit on about, 9 days out of 10? Or is it 12 days out of 13? Whatever it is, generally speaking, and the numbers support me on this, they can't hit. Whereas on this day, although they were ably assisted, I must add, by the Texas defense, especially in that 5-run 5th inning, by the Texas bullpen in general, they still hit. They still hit. What's more, they looked a little bit loose. In doing so, they almost, perish the thought, looked like they were having fun. I asked Isaiah Kiner-Falefa about this. And let's just say you're going to be at least a little bit surprised by how he began his response to me.
It's not easy to hit on losing teams, so it's like, when you get guys on, more things are, more possibilities. You're able to bunt, hit and run, you're able to do more things, and I think it's just more team baseball. I think when we're struggling at the plate, it's more of just trying to do too much. So it's nice to see these guys have some success.
Now, there's a lot to like about IKF, both on and off the field. He's been a fine addition for the baseball club in every sense. My favorite trait of his is exactly the one you would imagine that a reporter would value, and that's that he just says it. Quote, repeating from what you just heard, "It's not easy to hit on losing teams," end quote. Has that thought ever crossed your mind? I've covered this sport forever. I've covered almost entirely losing teams, obviously. I can't say that one's passed through my head before, but you know what? It makes a lot of sense. You don't have guys on the base paths. You don't have pitchers working from the stretch. You don't have movement of infielders. You don't have, and this, by the way, happened in this 5-run 5th inning where the Texas infielders had to bounce all over, and every time they moved away from somewhere, that's where the ball went. I'm sure it looked like the Pirates were getting lucky, but all that was happening was that they were playing winning offensive baseball for a change. So everyone was taking their turn, and everyone was getting a hit, even when the ball wasn't necessarily struck with much authority. But there's also something else within this. How many times in observing this team this summer have you seen, maybe they're down just a run or two, but it still feels like they're down by about 100 because everybody who comes up in your mind needs to hit a 5-run homer. I'm not going to lie. I think that a lot whenever it's the top of this order, whenever it's, O'Neal Cruz, Andrew McCutchen, Brian Reynolds. I'm thinking the offense either is going to come like in the next few milliseconds, or, as I'm thinking way more often, it's not going to come at all. What happens from there is everybody gets out of their usual approach. Okay, not Kutch. Kutch doesn't vary in his approach. But they'll start thinking to themselves, I got to get a hit. I can't just walk. I can't wait for my pitch. Everything just goes haywire. And look, I'm not being an idiot here. I'm not looking at one day where the Pirates do something right when this was only the 8th time in the month of June the Pirates scored more than 2 runs out of 20 total games. They're still dead last in all of Major League Baseball in most offensive categories that count. This was very much the exception and not the norm. But I also feel comfortable putting forth that the collective challenge that this group has faced has hurt a lot of the individuals involved. What happens, for example, to a lineup that absolutely positively does not have a cleanup hitter? This one hasn't had one from day one. What happens to everyone else? For that matter, not to really pick on anybody here because it's been almost everyone who's failed at this, but when your best hitter, when your best everyday player, that of course being Brian Reynolds, struggles the way he has, what's the snowball effect there? Now, Reynolds had himself a day. He had all kinds of good swings early on, good approach, and boom, what do you know? Just like that, everything takes off. Is it all on him? No. Is it all on Brian Hayes for having, no extra base hits like all season long? No. Is it all on the people at the very bottom of the depth chart or the 26th man on the roster, meaning Tommy Pham? No, of course it isn't. I've been saying that all season. But there is a chemical reaction here, and it's not a good one. Except yesterday when it was. We come back, J1Q. If you're looking for a great dining experience, look no further than North Shore Tavern. Located directly across Federal Street from PNC Park, next door to Mike's Beer Bar, North Shore Tavern is Pittsburgh's home for steak on a stone. Enjoy your steak finished on a hot lava stone in front of you where you ensure each piece is cooked to exactly your liking. Or try their rotating selection of entrees, hot sandwiches, salads, and burgers, all while enjoying the ambiance dedicated to the great players and history of the Pittsburgh Pirates all around you. Come see why everyone's talking about North Shore Tavern and steak on a stone.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragecheck.org. That's gunstoragecheck.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Steve Wright, who says, DK, on Ben Cherington's Sunday radio show, he said that he thinks the Pirates are capable of playing winning baseball, that they just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. We know Cherington believes heavily in advanced analytics and has a large staff of analysts on the payroll. Given that just about every baseball person not associated with the Pirates knew this offense would be historically bad, is the data the analysts are providing incorrect, or is the management just inept at interpreting the results? Steve, I'm going to throw in a preface here that I probably don't need to, and I'm going to do it anyway. Because one of the things that I get a little bit cringy about is when I will say something negative about Cherington's analytics, it's interpreted by some as some sort of, condemnation of math or whatever. That's not me. I'm not the anti-analytics guy, at all. Never have been, never expect to be. I find that sort of thinking to be weird, to be totally blunt with you. It's just information. That's all it is. All analytics are, at their root, is information. And it stands to reason that the more information to which you have access, the better your decision making will be. So please, 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 before I answer you, Steve, I'm imploring everyone to hear me when I say I'm not an anti-analytics guy. What I am an anti of when it comes to analytics is when people use them as if they are the cause as if they are the mission that you're attempting to achieve, to show that analytics are the way. I had really thought that Major League Baseball as a whole had moved past this stupid phase, which was really 10 or 15 years ago. And it was a phase that probably bottomed out with one particular dope writing an entire book extolling the genius of Neil Huntington and Kyle Stark, and, well, you know how that turned out. But that was part of that mindset, was that it's right because it's analytically based. Well, no, it isn't. Because ultimately, it's about what you do with the information. It's about how you apply the information. Cherington is still stuck in that era. Huntington was moving past it. He really was. Cherington's still there. So in Cherington's mind, Steve, and this is the part that I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding, what he sees is that his analytics people spit out a result, and therefore that result is correct. It is accurate. It's really indisputable. And if and when it doesn't go well, that's only because it hasn't had the proper time to play itself out. Hence, you get an insane line, like the one you referenced, that the Pirates are capable of playing winning baseball. They just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. Well, no crap. I mean, so if you just wait long enough, the Tommy Pham signing's going to look good. Never mind that for basically the same money, a little bit less than $1 million more, Cherington could have signed Austin Hayes, corner outfielder who's 9 years younger than Pham, who's batting .303, has a .901 OPS, that'd be the best on these current Pirates by a margin of 139 points. His brain, his process prioritizes proving that the analytics worked. That's 15 years ago. And the reason that he prioritizes that is because he himself is not a pure baseball guy. He's not a guy who can walk onto a sandlot somewhere and tell you whether or not a guy can play. And this is a compensation mechanism. So if he's defensive about that, and that's how most of this takes root, then he's going to be more invested in proving the analytics right than in anything else he's doing. So it's not the analytics, it's all this other misuse of it. And not to cross over shows here, but if anybody ever wants me to get into what analytics look like when they are properly put into motion and balanced and run through the ringer, checked and rechecked, then send me a question to my daily shot of Penguins, and I'll tell you how Kyle Dubas and his staff are doing it right now. Hint, it's the polar opposite of this. I appreciate the question. Good one. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We'll be back with another one of these tomorrow.